welcome. Thank you for joining me today. We are not doing music trivia. You know what? I was thinking it's Monday, but it's Tuesday. So some of you are probably expecting music trivia, but I need to get this off my chest. For about 2 weeks now, every day I'm thinking about this topic. And so I'm going to talk about it. And I'd love to hear your feedback as we go. We are going to be talking about Anna Kepner. If the name sounds familiar, but you're not sure from where, that's the girl. She's 18 years old. She went on a cruise with her family and was didn't make it off the cruise alive. All right, and highly suspect it is her stepbrother. All right. But I'm not here to talk about the case. There's plenty of other channels that you can go watch and get all those details. What I want to talk about is society and what's happening in society right now with young people. And we're going to talk about Anna Kepner in this context. And so before I do that, I want to remind everybody of what a cautionary tale is. Hey, Chalet is in the house. Titusville is a hop, skip, and jump for me. You know what's really interesting? I just finished reading a novel. Oh gosh, I think it was Virginia Giuffre's Giuffre, who was in Epstein's case. She wrote a book called Nobody's Girl, and I just read that novel. And I guess I could call it a novel. Anyway, I read her book. And I think she was also from the Titusville area. She mentioned Titusville a few times. And then I saw it in relation to Anna Kepner as well. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was just reading about that. Very, interesting. Anyway. So the boy who cried wolf. For anyone who doesn't know what that story is, I see Mumsy and Chalet, you guys know the story, but maybe some people watching don't know the story. So here's a picture to go along with the story as I tell it to you. There was a village in the mountains, they had sheep, and this young boy is told by the villagers, it's your turn, you're old enough now, and you're going to go and watch the sheep and make sure that no wolves come to eat the sheep. And I'm going to put my phone on silent so we don't hear those notifications. And he's like, but what am I going to do? If the wolf comes, then it'll eat me too. And the villagers are like, no. All you need to do is scream really loud, wolf, wolf. And we'll come running and we'll take care of the wolf. You just have to be out there and watch. And if you see a wolf, then you cry out, wolf. He says, okay. Sounds not right, but I'll keep it down way low. Okay. I did push the microphone away from me a bit because I noticed I did check like the sound where you have the bars and it was going all the way over. And I think that's what the problem is. It's just that the microphone is too good. No, the fan is off. Okay. So he says, okay, I can do this. And he's out there with the sheep. He's a little bit unsure and he's a little bit kind of scared. So he goes, you know what? I'm going to cry wolf and see if the villagers come. I got to test them. I got to know, as was said in the film Dirty Harry. Something in my settings. I fixed it one time, but it came back. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me look and see if it's all the way over. I'll see if I can move it back some more. Okay. Is that maybe that's a little bit better? See, it's still going. The bars are still going all the way when I'm talking. Maybe if I put it up here like this. Okay, if I don't talk too loud, just saying, it makes a difference because it's not fun to listen to. Yeah. A little bit further away. Yeah, the bars still go all the way to the end. Okay. All right. Well, I'll try not to talk too loud, and maybe that'll help. So, so he wants to test it, and he goes, "Hey, wolf, wolf!" And all the villagers come running. He's like, "Oh, right, okay, it works." And the villagers are kind of like, "Well, where's the wolf?" And he's like, "No, I was just testing you because I wasn't sure if it would really work." And they're like, "Okay, okay, okay." And they go back to work in the village. I see your comment, Chalet. Uh, so, uh, so then he's sitting there with the sheep. He knows it can work now, and it's really boring just sitting there watching the sheep. There's nothing to do. There's no video games. He doesn't have an iPad with him. All right, he's really bored. So he decides. Okay, thank you, Chalet. Uh, so he decides he's going to do it again. And he calls wolf, wolf, and all the people come. And the old men are huffing and puffing, and everybody's ready to kill the wolf. And he's just laughing. It was so funny because he was just bored, and he did it, and they came running. And so now they're kind of angry at him for crying wolf when there wasn't a wolf. And they all go back to the village, and they say, "Hey, don't do this again." So he's sitting there watching the sheep, and guess what? A wolf comes. And so he cries wolf, but the people don't come this time because he lied too many times, right? And so when the villagers finally came to check on the boy and the sheep, you know, everything is gone, all right? Because the wolf had its way with everybody. So the reason I'm telling that story is because it is a cautionary tale, right? So if we say that this boy lied and he suffered the consequences of his actions, right? We're not victim shaming the boy. We're not saying he deserved what he got. That would be victim shaming. Okay, we say that he brought it all on himself and he deserved it. Okay, that's victim shaming. What we're going to talk about with Anna, I want to be very clear. That is not how I feel about Anna. All right, she did not deserve what happened to her, regardless of how she was acting and behaving. She did not deserve it. Okay, just so that I'm very clear, because I'm going to speak out and I'm going to speak my mind about this because I think it needs to be said. And it's what I need to do is use Anna as an example for a cautionary tale of what is happening in society as a whole, and not just American society. Because also here in Cambodia, Chani was doing the same thing on her Facebook, and it drove me crazy. And I tried to teach her and get her to understand that this isn't proper. This isn't right. This isn't going to help you. Okay. And so it's very widespread across society. And what are we as society going to do about this problem? P digits, a bit lost. Here's Anna. Well, I'm going to show you some pictures and some videos. Anna Kepner is the girl who was on the cruise ship. Okay, and I'm just going to say died. Okay, and most likely at the hands of her stepbrother. He hasn't been charged with anything yet, but that's what it's looking like. Live the video on the way in, people. Thank you. Oh, you mean like the video on your way in. Thank you, P Digits. Okay, so let me bring this back up on screen so I can change and share here. So this is Anna's TikTok page. All right, and you can see even in her profile picture, she's looking very sexy, right? This picture right here. Now, she was going to a Christian school. She should I use the term identified as a Christian? I don't know. She claimed to be a Christian, and I'm not disputing that claim. Okay, that's how widespread this issue is in society. That it's even in the Christian churches, young people are being, are making themselves sexy at an age when they shouldn't be doing this. Okay. I think this one.
All hot with an armful of
Let me make sure that I have it on mute. Why isn't it moving? And so there's all this posing, showing the backside, like that's what's cutesy. Even in this one, this one's not so bad. Here she is with her friend. Is this the way teenagers are supposed to be acting? And dressing. And this is not victim shaming Anna herself. Okay? I want to make that very clear. What happened to her, I'm not saying she brought it on herself or anything like that. Okay? There's a lot of girls out there that this hasn't happened to, but because it happened to her, and her TikToks and her videos and her pictures are all over, and it's like we're seeing this, and what, everyone's afraid to say anything. Everyone's afraid of calling this out. Where are the parents in society? Where are the church leaders? She was going to church. She went to a Christian school. Where are the teachers? Why are we allowing this kind of behavior and question, shoot. There we go. Okay, sorry, the cat stepped on my computer, my keyboard, but everything's okay. Where are the mentors to be telling these girls, teach them the law of attraction, right? We talk about it for money. Oh, if I think money, then I'm going to bring in money. If I think a new house, I'm going to get a new house. If I think a new car, I'm going to get a new car. Well, you know what? If you dress and act sexy, you're going to attract men that are just interested in sex. You're not going to attract wholesome men. What do you guys think about this? The mentors may possibly be doing the same thing. Possibly. Because maybe this has been going on for a few generations. But it seems like making these poses. So, I'm trying to see the way my screen, when baby stepped on my keyboard, she changed the format of my screen, and I don't see the top of my tabs the way I did before. I need to hide this for a second. Maybe if I hit escape. What attention that they're trying to get. They want attention, I think is what you're saying. Yes, they do, but what kind of attention are they going to attract? Then that is how they're acting. I have another TikTok that's actually in Cambodia, but I can't get to this. I can't get to the screen. I mean, now you're kind of caught up. She died of mechanical asphyxiation, is what I read. Yes, they say a bar hold, so it's like straight across. So it could either be someone pushing down on you, right, from the front, or someone coming around from the back and like this. It could be either way, pushing down. They're on top of you and they're pushing down on your neck, or they're behind you and they have you in a hold like that. Could be, but one of those two ways would be a bar hold. And that's what the coroner or medical examiner said happened. And yeah, so yeah, I just needed to say my piece about how society, how this generation is so caught up in making all these, the fishy face and the kissy and the twerking and this and that and whatever, and not just 17 and 18-year-olds like her. This is also the tweens, the 12 to 13-year-olds. Mechanical means a tool or a belt. Yeah, that could be too. Well, I think I would normally be able to look it up, but I cannot go to. Oh wait, maybe it's here. No, I don't know how to change my screen. I used to have the tabs across the top, and I could just switch between tabs, and that tab strip across the top is gone, and I don't know how to get it back. But I think mechanical can mean by hand. I can maybe look it up on my phone really fast. As opposed to hanging or something. Okay, I'm looking. Well, I used strangulation. I used that instead of asphyxiation. It's really slow on my phone. I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off, actually. So it just says a form of asphyxia caused by external pressure on the neck that restricts airflow or blood flow to the brain. It can occur through various methods like hanging, ligature, or manual strangulation is the hands themselves. So that would be the hands like this would be considered manual. So I guess maybe because in the bar hold would also fall under mechanical. So because they literally said bar hold. That would be physical if you used your body. All right. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yes, that she died by not being able to breathe. And the suspicion falls on her brother, her stepbrother, who was 16. Tomato. That's right. And I not that in any circumstance would it be right for him, if he did this, to do something like this. It would never be right. But if he's now thrown into this house, and the grandmother said he had demons, and we don't know what those demons were. So it was but to be faced with, I mean, if she's acting like this on her TikTok, is she acting like this all the time around the house and frustrating him? You have to take some responsibility for your behavior when you're an 18-year-old girl and you've got a 16-year-old stepbrother living in the house. Maybe you don't want to be acting like that in front of him, because hormones are a powerful thing. Again, not victim shaming. I'm not shaming her in any way. I'm just saying that we need to look at this in a broader sense. It's not just her, it's an entire generation. I mean, we could talk about the hormones in food, the chicken, the eggs, the beef, everything, they're pumping all the animals with hormones to make them bigger so that they can get more food. And those hormones are going into the bodies of our children and making them develop faster. Sharing a cabin was not a good choice by the parents. And quite frankly, I'm surprised that she agreed to it. I mean, the grandmother says that she told them, you can come stay in my room. We have a large enough cabin. You can come, there's plenty of room. You can come stay in ours. I mean, with what her ex-boyfriend said, that the stepbrother had made moves on her, and he and his father both talked to the parents about it, and they didn't believe him. First of all, setting it up that way, we asked them what they wanted to do. Why? Why not just say, okay, this is how it's going to be? Why not even say, okay, girls here, boys there? It's not like the parents were on a honeymoon. They had one other child with them, so hopefully they weren't like being active with the other child staying there with them, at least during, sleeping hours. I mean, maybe they had it set up where the grandparents would have the kids out at the pool or something, and then they'd go use the cabin. Okay, they're adults. I don't care. But for sleeping arrangements, I'm not sure if she was wrapped in a rug. She had life vests on top of her. She was wrapped in something, but I don't know if it was like sheets or what. I'm not sure what she was wrapped in. It could have been a rug. It might have been towels. It might have been sheets. And then, in addition to being wrapped up, she had life vests on her. So if he did do it, he knew what he did. Well, yeah, and apparently he has been interviewed, I guess, by the FBI is doing the investigation, and he says he doesn't remember anything. And then some people are saying, oh, well, was he drunk? Was he drinking? You know, he's 16, but was he drinking? And he blacked out. You know, it's like, but I don't think anybody's buying that. You got to be careful what kind of flies you attract in life. That's right, P digits. That's right. Because we do attract a certain frequency. And if you're giving out a frequency that's like, woohoo, I'm sexy and I'm ready, you know, then that's what you're going to be attracting. So we need to teach children to be careful. Unless he's schizophrenic, then he wouldn't know what he's doing. Well, that's possible. Or multiple personality disorder. You know, I had a very close friend that was schizophrenic, and I think he was pretty much aware when he was aware of his part in anything, like in where he was, but there were other elements that would come into his reality that weren't real, that he thought was real, right? I think, I mean, of course, there's variations in a spectrum of schizophrenia, but I think most of the time you're aware. But multiple personality disorder, or I think now they're calling it dissociative disorder, then you black out. You lose when another personality takes over. Then your core personality doesn't know what's happening at that time because the other personality is the one that's living it. And is meant some form of mental health issue? What the grandmother was talking about with he has demons. Maybe she meant literally. And then what are you doing putting the girl in the room with him if that's what difficult age, 16 and 18, to be in close confinement? Absolutely, Mumsy. It's like those child beauty pageants. What kind of flies are headed to those shows? Absolutely. Look what happened to John Bonet Ramsey, you know, which was probably family oriented and ritualistic, but anyway, yeah, the dressing them up with all the makeup like that and everything. Yeah, it's freaky. It's freaky. Well, why are you doing that to children? You know, I mean, if you want to have a child pageant, then let them be kids. Don't dress them up like, you know, sex bots or something, you know, for sure. So I remember when I was in high school and I was going to a Southern Baptist church in Georgia in the summer. And so that's pretty hardcore. And what they would have us do is we would have to put our hand, so like the edge of the palm of our hand would be at the top of our leg, like where the top of the leg joins the hip. So, but like the top of the femur bone, basically, so at the top of your leg, and then you would measure down, and your shorts had to be at least as long as your finger. Your shorts could not be any shorter than whatever that was. So let's see if I stand up. Can you see? Oops. No, you can't see. But anyway, if this is my leg, and I go like this, right? Then those shorts have to be longer than my hand. So they did. Nobody was running around wearing sexy stuff, and you know, no. Were there people like that? Yes. I mean, look at we had Grease. This is Piggy. Hello, Piggy. Piggy. Say hello, Piggy. Okay, but you got to stay down. Stay down, Piggy. You know, Grease and Saturday Night Fever, and I mean, we had all these shows, and you look at Olivia Newton-John at the end, and like, woohoo, you know, or the disco scene, woohoo, you know. I'd say, like, when I was 12 and 13, like, so before I became a Christian, and I was in the Catholic Church, but that's different. I grew up Catholic. But when I became born again Christian, right, I put all that aside. But prior to that, sure, I would, in 1978, 79, we had tube tops, and I was wearing tube tops, and so yeah, I was acting sexy for my age, but it got nipped in the bud. It didn't last long. Gross? What you said? It's gross. Oh yeah, the pageants of the kids, turning them into sex objects. It's not right. And then you got like the whole Swifty thing and stuff, and those are all tweens. They're starting at tweens and then up through teenagers, and then young adults. I mean, people have been following Taylor Swift forever, and then in any of the rap music and a lot of, you look at Katy Perry and Ariana Grande, who's really big right now with Wicked 2 coming out, who's always been kind of freaky, and she always does. She's got this like doe-eyed look, whatever, all the time. And this is who people are emulating. So yeah, if that's who the pop culture idols are that are being emulated, why are we allowing children to be absorbed into all of this? I mean, are they being supervised at all with what they're doing on watching online and then putting online? Somebody should say something. I did it with Channy. I saw what she was, and then like all, but in this weird sexy way, right? And I told her, no, it's not appropriate. And sometimes that's all you need is somebody, if you're not saying, you don't, blah, 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 and you're not in somebody's face, but you're like, hey, listen, we need to have a talk. This isn't appropriate, and it could be harmful. And have a talk about it. Cher had a music video on a Navy ship in lace. Yes, she did. And that's why a lot of that, and Madonna, yes. But at least, with the clothing style that she because it kind of transitioned from, there was hardcore punk with spikes and things like that, right? And underwear became outerwear, with Madonna. Prior to Madonna, it's like if you wore a spaghetti strap or something, you had to have like a strapless bra on underneath so that your strap, it was like horrifying to let your bra straps show. Now it's like nothing. Yeah, look what happens. Right. It has been going on for years. And as we talk about a slippery slope, yes, indeed, it has gotten worse and worse. I was going to say, at least with Madonna's fashion and Cyndi Lauper and stuff like that, you were still covered up, and people weren't into all this phony model posing stuff, so much. Maybe some people were a little bit, but not like it is today. Look back at the, pictures from the 70s and the 80s, and we weren't acting like what's happening now. Yeah, Mumsy says for years and years it's getting worse. And I think if there are no boundaries, then you just continue further and further, you know. But if there's a boundary, then except for somebody who's just super rebellious, you know, it's like, oh, finally, somebody said, here's where the boundary is. So, okay, I'll stay within the boundary. You know, quite frequently, I think most people are like that. And they'll test the boundary and you let them get away with it, or you don't let them get away with it, you know. And the rare person is the one that's just absolutely rebellious. No dress code anymore. This is true. P Digit says the selfie conceited stick was invented. Yes. So having that selfie stick, you know, and then everybody's got to like be taking pictures with it, you know. We've always, at least since the 1800s, we've had pictures, and I think it wasn't until around the 50s that having personal cameras became more popular. I taught a class on photography about this, so I think it was around the 50s, after the war, that people actually started taking pictures themselves. Before that, it was mostly scientific or news. You know, people were taking pictures or portraits, but not just everyday living. You know, here's the birthday parties, and here's our camping trip, and things like that. And in post-war, in the 50s, is when that started. Who needs MTV videos when you have Instagram available? Yeah. Does anybody watch MTV anymore? I don't know. I don't have cable, and I don't know if they have a YouTube channel where they play music videos. I don't know. I mean, of course, there are individual bands that have their channel, and the Vivo. A lot of bands have official channels on Vivo, and their music videos are there. You know, and TikTok. TikTok's gotten really big in Cambodia. It used to be just Facebook. Everything was on Facebook. If they did live, if they did posts, if they had messages, it was all through Facebook. But now TikTok is, you know, Instagram a little bit, but TikTok has gotten really big here. And they're acting the same way. And that's why I'm saying I'm not victim shaming Anna. I'm using this as an example of what is widespread and how we really we missed the MTV videos back in the day. Absolutely. And they played everything, not so much country. But I think that's because country didn't have a lot of videos until they started CMT. And then they made videos, but I don't think there were a lot of country videos for songs. I think they just didn't make them. Because pretty much MTV, when it first started, played everything. If you were a band and you made a video, it would get played. You know. But now, I mean, you know what? I think that the music industry, while there has always been this, like if there was the movie with Tom Hanks and the band, you know, like where he signed, he was like he became the agent for a band. What was the name of that movie? You guys remember it? It's changing the way we take things in as well. Short clips that don't require a lot of effort to concentrate on. This is true. And it doesn't take, you don't have to do editing and things like that. Mumsy's still waiting for me to edit some of her cooking videos, because it's like my idea was that they weren't going to be cooking videos as much as they were going to be chatting videos. Like, here's me and Mumsy chatting while she's cooking, you know, and just do it as a live stream. but she didn't want to do it that way, and so it's like, okay. And so then this is the consequence of that choice. It's like I don't want to edit. I know how to edit. I don't like to edit, which is why I do live streams. Um, yeah, Mumsy says right. Yeah, she's waiting. It's okay. I'll get to it eventually. And then we'll have some Mumsy's Kitchen videos. Because she has some nice recipes. I was actually just watching some of the clips because I made a book, right? Like a photo book, hardcover photo book, and with Shutterfly, and so it gives me the pages, and I just pop in the pictures. Well, there were a lot of pictures on the trip, like there were things that happened that I didn't have pictures for, like my meet and greet. I couldn't find any pictures of my meet and greet, but there were a couple of videos that I had posted. So I had to play the video and then pause it and like then do a screenshot of the video. And so I had to do a lot of screenshots. So I was watching a lot of videos that we had taken that aren't up on YouTube anywhere. And they're actually, it's kind of funny listening to my mom, and especially when my mom and David are talking to each other. It's kind of funny how they interact. So I got to do that editing. Mumsy goes, oh well, she didn't want to do it anyway. Hey, Gibbo is here. He's watching. Okay, that's good. Oh. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't have all the answers, but it's now I'm going to be able to sleep good at night, because this has been like every time I lay down in bed to go to sleep, this comes up. Or anytime I watch a video and it's about Anna Kepner and they're showing pictures of her, but they're talking about the case and stuff. It's just like nails on the chalkboard, just driving me crazy. Why isn't anybody willing to say anything about this? So there, I said it. And so that's it. Oh, Mumsy says good memories. Yeah, it was a good trip. Thank you so much, Mumsy, for making it possible. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about it. If you have any additional thoughts, if you're watching this on replay, then please use the comments to share what your thoughts are. Is this a problem of children and teens being too sexy? You know, and should society try to rein them in? Can we? You know, how do we? Something to think about. So that's it. And so I guess this is Tuesday, right? Tuesday, yeah. So tomorrow's Wednesday. So I'll figure out a Cambodian. Tomorrow will be Cambodia. And then maybe for our games on Thursday, we'll do music, since I didn't do music tonight. I really was, when I was setting this up, I was thinking it was Monday, even though I know it's Tuesday. But in my head, for some reason, I was thinking it was Monday. So I was like filling an empty slot with this video. Oh, Maven quoting Forrest Gump. That's all I've got to say about that. I don't have the accent quite right, but yeah. So yeah, Thursday we can do the music. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I always hate that, because I always knew it wasn't a mystery to me. I don't know if I'm just that smart or what, but It's like, I hate that saying. And some people would always have to like poke the bottom to try and see what was on the inside. I mean, a lot of boxes of chocolate will actually have in the cover, some a diagram of like what all the different ones are. But even I don't know. I never I get it, but I don't live it. I guess is doesn't apply to me. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. No, I know exactly what I'm going to get. Especially when I go to See's Candies and they let you pick out, which you don't have to just get a box that is like mixed up of stuff. You can actually ask them to put the ones that you want in. So I only get 4 kinds. I get the California um, brittle, California brittle, the Mayfair, the Normandy, and the marzipan. That's it. Fill me up a pound or 2 pounds or whatever of those 4, and then maybe some almond royale. If they have like some extra room, then toss in some almond royales. Oh, Gibbo says he's got a massive interview tonight. He's been chasing since he started his channel, the missing Layla Santinello family. Well, everybody make sure to tune into that. Is it on the I'll Be Frank channel? Because the I'll Be Frank channel is in my description. Mumsy says I have to go to See's Candy on Thursday to mail my box. Wow. Yay. Yay. Yes, and I submitted my order for the photo book, so it will be delivered before Christmas. Now I got to think about my stepmother and half sisters. I usually get something from Swiss Colony and have it sent to them so that they can just like all, because they're all getting together in Georgia for Christmas. They're all going to be together, so I get them something that they can all enjoy together. And so I need to see what's on sale. Maybe the Black Friday sale's not over yet. Look for what's on sale from Swiss Colony, and then get it processed. Sometimes I do sourdough from San Francisco because there's an online, I think it's Bourdain's or something like Boudwin or something, very famous sourdough in San Francisco, and they will ship sourdough bread. Gibbo says, yes, it is the I'll Be Frank. So in the description, there's I'll Be Frank. So make sure you tune into that. Well, thank you for reminding everybody to hit the share, hit the like, share it. You've got a meeting at 10 you got to prep for. Okay, hey, before you go, don't forget, love transcends time and space. It really does. And so wherever and whenever you're listening to me, I love you. All right? Okay, so you guys go forth into the world and keep this on your mind. Can we do anything? Maybe it's kind of like the starfish, right? You know the story of the starfish. There's like a little girl and her dad are walking on the beach, and like there's all these starfish that washed up and they're on the sand and they're dying because they're not in the water. And she picks one up and she throws it back into the sea. And the dad says, look at all the starfish that are still here. You're not making a difference. And she says to him, but I made a difference to that one. Right? So maybe whoever is in your influence, if you have children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren or nieces or nephews or even just a neighbor that you're close to or something, don't be afraid to speak up in a kind way. There's no need to be a bully. There's no need to be self-righteous. How dare you dress all sexy? Don't you know something bad's going to happen to you? No. Don't be like that. Say, hey, have you ever thought about the consequences of dressing all sexy like this? Of what you might be attracting? Time and space, does that exist in 4D? Probably part of 4D. Fourth dimension. Okay, glad I have no young children right now. I know, huh? Isn't that the truth? But anyway, all right, guys. I hope to see you tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, where tomorrow afternoon, wherever you watch. Same bat time, same bat channel. And but tomorrow, hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, catch you later.